But thank you very much, Joe. Let's pick up on this story. Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane is criticising Parliament over what she says is a legally flawed process. The National Assembly last year approved new rules to remove the heads of Chapter 9 institutions. Now, Mkhwebane is questioning the motive behind the process. She's also not taking kindly to a SARS investigation into her income tax affairs. For more on this, I'm joined by her spokesperson, Oupa Segalwe. Mrs. Segalwe, thank you very much for your time. Why is the Public Protector so suspicious of a process of Parliament?
Well, I think we must first clarify the fact that the Public Protector understands very well that in terms of the Constitution, she accounts to the National Assembly. And she also is alive to the fact that in terms of Section 194 of the Constitution, Parliament can hold her to account, and she's not opposed to that at all. All that she is asking for is some level of fairness in the process. You will recall that sometime last year, she had to write to Parliament, to the National Assembly Speaker, to indicate that Parliament was proceeding with the process, and yet there were no rules providing for how that process ought to unfold. Parliament was merely relying on the Constitution, and that forced Parliament to go back to the drawing board to draft those rules, which is what has brought us here today. So, following the adoption of those rules, she picked up some things that are not really, providing for a fair and independent process.
What are some of those things?
For instance, the rules are silent on conflict of interest. As you would know, the Public Protector has made adverse findings against several people who are members of Parliament and ministers, and she's litigating against some of those in various courts. And even the sponsor of the motion in question, the Democratic Alliance, is litigating against the Public Protector in court processes, and they have condemned her in public, saying all sorts of things about her. Now she is saying those can't be the same people that must now sit as independent minds to effectively decide on her fate. She wants the rules to be clear on that as to what should happen. Shouldn't those people recuse themselves?
Mr. Segalwe, the parliamentary process, as you will know, it is comprised of politicians, and politicians have views. It's not a judicial process. Why is the Public Protector so worried? Because that committee as well that will be put together will be comprised of people who come from different political parties. It's not just going to be one political party.
She does not dispute that, but it doesn't change the fact that the process needs to be fair, and everyone who is involved there need to approach that process from an independent perspective. But that's not the only problem she has with the rules as they are. For instance, when it was announced last Friday that Parliament has approved the DA motion, she had not been informed. And in terms of rules...
Mr. Segalwe, I'm sorry to interrupt you here. The Public Protector has made such public accusations against certain people. Are you at liberty to actually tell us who these people are that she says or she feels are going to be unfair and already hold biased views against her?
Well, I've already indicated that the Democratic Alliance is
that's not an individual,
the caucus.
It's a party.
Yes, the entire caucus. Remember, the party did not support her appointment from the beginning, accusing her of being a spy, and she's litigating against them in court as we speak, and they are failing to prove that claim that they leveled against her. She has issued various reports in which she made adverse findings against ministers, and ministers are members of Parliament. They are supposed to participate in that process. But the point I was getting to is that when that announcement was made, she hadn't been informed. And in terms of the rule 129R of the Rules of Parliament, once the Speaker approves a motion, it means she has established a prima facie case. In other words, there's a case to answer for the Public Protector.
All right, let me rush you because of time, because we have run out of time. I've got to put in the question about your accusations against the Hawks and a SARS process. The Public Protector making claims that the Hawks may be driven through some kind of political process here. They've come out to rubbish that. In fact, they're accusing her of not cooperating with their investigation.
They are not being truthful. On the 24th of this month, the Public Protector wrote back to the investigator of the Hawks, who has been in touch with her office, indicating exactly where she stands on that matter. What they are referring to, a warning statement, is not mandatory for the accused to respond to it. It's like maintaining your right to remain silent. And she has indicated in that letter that, if needs be, she will appear in court to answer to answer to that case, should the NPA decide that it should be enrolled.
Mrs. Segalwe, just as a final to you, the Public Protector, we've invited her numerous times on this station. Is she prepared to come and talk to us live on air?
She has absolutely no problem coming here, provided that her schedule allows that.
Schedule allows. When might that be? Because we're open to her coming through at any time.
Well, it depends. If her schedule allows, she will definitely come. She has absolutely no problem coming here. She has quite a very busy schedule, because at any given time in the office we are dealing with upwards of some 40,000 complaints, and each and every single one of those needs her attention by way of supervision.
Well, it's just interesting to hear that, because she has been on other platforms numerous times. It's just ENCA that clearly she's allergic to.
No, I can promise you that she has got no problem with ENCA at all.
Right.
And then she will be here sometime.
Thank you very much. Oupa Segalwe, spokesperson for the Public Protector.